Okay, as you can tell by the intro, we're going to be using actual photographs and learning how to cut those out in Anime Studio. I've done this tutorial a long time ago, but I didn't have a good mic and I wanted to redo it so you guys could see how to use it in multiple ways. So we're going to start off by importing an image, and I'm going to, already got it on the desktop. It's a picture of a jaguar, and I'm just going to shrink this down to the center, and I'm just going to flip it just for personal preference. Now, one way that you can cut out a picture in Anime Studio is to use the image masking wand, and what that does is if you click on a color, you can see that it kind of popped out, and if I pull and drag on the shadow, it starts to get rid of parts of this, and it works pretty good. You can see if I do a Command Z and go back, I can just try and grab the shadow and slowly try and get all of these pixels out of there. But there's a lot of parts that you miss, and if you have a really busy background with grass or something like that, it doesn't work very well. So I'm going to back up, Command Z, all the way back to the beginning of the original image, and what we're going to use is masks. And now that we have the jaguar, we're going to double click the vector layer that we have and call it mask. Then we'll create a group under the layers, and we'll just call this car mask, or actually just car. And we'll go ahead and drag that to the top and select the image, hold shift down, then select mask, and drag them both into the car layer. So now they're both in there. We can double click on the folder and click masking, hide all, and apply. And that's basically, it's just hiding the picture because the mask doesn't have anything in it. So if I click on the mask and then use the shape tool, and I have autofill selected right here, I'm just going to draw a square. You can see it starts revealing the car. And I also want to, now I can just start going, adding points and moving the mask around so I can get the shape cut out, and you can move the points around and find the edges, but I kind of want a tracing image also, so I'm gonna select the jaguar photo and duplicate it, and I'm going to pull it out of the folder, and then I'm collapsing it just so I can place it underneath, and I'm gonna double click it, change the opacity to 22 or 20, whatever you want it to do. It's just so you can see a kind of tracing image right behind it. And so with that tracing image there, you can go back into the mask and then just kind of go in here and start moving points. So I'm hitting A to add points, and coming in, and like for the wheel, if I move this to the edge and this to this edge, I hit C and I'll curve that out. Hit T, grabbing that point, A to add, and C. I have my hand resting on my keyboard, and I don't even have to look because I use these shortcuts so much that I can just hit A if I need to add another point, and then C to curve, and so on. So I'm going to go around this whole image real quick and cut it out. I'm going to leave the tires out so we can do those separately. So I'll be back in just a second. Okay, so now I have the car cut out pretty much how I want it. If I hide the tracing image, you can see. The reason I really like using a mask to cut stuff out, especially photos, is if you render it, it's extremely sharp. And you can actually go back in and adjust it. If you don't like the way something looks, you can keep going back into it and just fixing it. Now, the reason I left the wheels out is because I'm going to select the car, and I'm going to duplicate the whole folder, and I'll call this wheel 1. And what I'm going to do in this one is I'm going to select the mask, hit T, and select the entire image and delete it. And if I hide the car, you can see there's nothing there. So what I want to do on this one is I'm going to use the circle, and I'm just going to draw a circle and put it over the tire. And try and fit it as best as possible. It's not going to be a perfect circle. Let me turn the car back on. So while we're in the wheel mask, go in here and grab these edges and just do like that. And that looks pretty good. I'm just going to warn you right now, these wheels are going to be wobbly, but it's just to show you that you can use the same picture for different parts of your animation. So we have wheel 1, we'll duplicate that, we'll go into the mask, and this time we're just going to grab the mask itself because we have it around the tire, and we'll just move it over to this wheel and then adjust that. So I'll grab the points and kind of get around the tire as best as I can and leave it like that. Again, I know they're not perfect circles, and when you see this rotate, it's gonna look weird, but that's okay. And then the last thing I'm gonna do is gonna add a vector layer, and I'll just call this car back. And the only reason I'm doing this is so that there's just this empty space isn't behind the car. So I'm going to use the rectangle. I'll go ahead and select black for the fill and just draw a square and just kind of fill the back out just so it doesn't look like the wheels are floating. So we'll just do that like that. That's good. Now that we have all the parts, we'll go ahead and make another group, and we'll call this car complete, and we'll put that at the top, and we'll select the wheel, all the wheel, the cars, and the back, and drag that in there. The reason we're doing this is so that we can select that folder and move all the parts at the same time. So there's our car. Now because I did the wheels separately, let's go into wheel 1 or wheel 2, which is this one. So if I go into wheel 2, now what I want these to do is rotate. So we're going to click on this, set origin point, and we'll just set it right in the center of the tire. Right there. As close as we can. Now I warned you, this is not going to rotate. It'll look funny, but it'll work for what we want to do. So with that selected, I'm going to select the transform layer tool. Now keep in mind, the reason why it's making such a big selection is the entire car is actually still there. But if I grab the rotate, it's going to rotate the tire. And even though it's rotating the entire image of the car, and it's very lumpy, it's because I don't have a perfect circle, but you guys can make a perfect circle if you want to. But I'm just doing this so you can see that it can animate separately from the car. So what we'll do is I'm going to go to, let's undo all that and reset it. So on frame 1, I'm going to click on the rotation. I'll go to frame 12, and then I'm just going to rotate it a little bit, and then I'm going to come up to the angle and type negative 359. The reason I'm doing 359 is so that it makes a full rotation, and I'm also going to select the keyframe and cycle it, and I'm going to cycle it to frame 2 because 1 will repeat, and then also click this first frame and do linear. So it'll just keep rotating. So if I hit play, the tire just spins continuously. Now if it was a perfect circle, then it would look much better, but for this animation, it looks good enough. Just pretend that he's got some flat tires. So we'll do the same thing here. Wheel 1, reset the origin point to the center of the tire. We'll go to frame 1, transform layer tool, click on the rotation, go to frame 12, we'll rotate it a little bit and then type in negative 359 and OK. And then we'll right click on the keyframe, cycle to 2, and then right click on the first keyframe and linear. So then that one's rotating too. And if I play the animation, oh, what's going on here? Why is this tire stuttering? Okay, there we go. Both the tires are going. So that's the first part of the animation. So we got, if I select the car, remember it's because they're all in the same folder. I can move this anywhere. And if I hit play, it'll just go. So you can resize the entire thing. If you want, you can start an animation over here. And click on frame, move it, and have it drive through. There we go. And that's the first thing I wanted to show you. Now the second thing I'm going to show you is how to use the same technique but on a photograph. So let's go ahead and hide this. And I'm going to open up a new image. I'll go back to frame 0. Let's erase all this. New image. And I'm just going to get this picture of Will Smith. The reason I got him is because he has an easy haircut. Like he doesn't have strands of hair going everywhere, so he was the easiest one I could find. Probably could have used Vin Diesel or somebody like that. That probably would have been even better. But I got Will, so we'll just do that. So, same exact principle, same thing. We have a photo, and then we have a vector. Will's head. Put it underneath the photo and make a group. And I'll just call it Will. Select both of them, drag it into the group, click on it, double click, masking, hide all, apply. And then even if I'm doing rounded shapes, I don't know why, but I always start with a rectangle. It's just easier to manipulate the squares. So I'm gonna start drawing. Actually, I forgot to make a trace image, so I'm gonna click on him, drag it out of the folder, double click it, and change the opacity, and just put it underneath, just so I can see where I'm moving lines, and do the same thing. I'm gonna go in, hit T, grab the points that I want, A to add new points, just go around his face really quick, A to add, and once you hit add once, you can just keep clicking on the line and it'll keep adding more. But now I'm hitting T to move some, and curve that out. Oops. A, curve the top of his head out a little bit, and do the same thing around his ear, and get that jawline. Use C to curve out some of these points, just a little bit more rounded, and keep adjusting. Again, I really like using masks because you can adjust them and you won't mess up the picture. So if I bring that in, make sure I get into his skin just so it looks better when it's cut out. curve that, curve it, move it. And that looks pretty good. So I'll get rid of the trace image. I'll just delete that. There we got Will's head. Now, here's the other part I'm going to show you. And if you've ever used jibjab online or wanted to use your own picture to do an animation, this is one way to do it. You can also cut out your image in Photoshop, and if you guys want to see that, let me know. But if you don't have Photoshop and you want to do it directly in Animate Studio, this is how you do it. So we have his head, and just like the car, we'll duplicate it. And this time I'm going to hide the first one, go into the mask, and this time I'm going to just select his head, delete it, and then draw right here. I don't need a tracing image because all I'm going to do is make this his jaw. So I'm going to move just like that, and put this at the bottom of his chin. Yeah, we'll put that there. We could probably curve this out too, if you want. That looks pretty good. Okay, so it's just his bottom lip and his chin. And this is basically the same thing that jibjab does. So if I turn his face on, and then I let's grab we'll call this his mouth. So if I use the transform layer tool and grab it, I can move that. Now it looks weird because his mouth is still there also when I move it. So the last thing we need to do is just put a drawing in between. So let's turn his mouth off, and this is gonna look really weird, but we'll just trust me on this. We'll create a new vector layer, and we'll call this inside mouth. And I'm going to use rectangle, autofill, and we do have black already, so oops, no we don't. Now we have black fill. I'm going to zoom in, kind of make the same shape, just where his lip is, going to the edge of his lip there, and I'm just going to make it to about right there. Now I'm going to change the fill to white and stroke to gray, and I'll hit S and make a new shape, and I'll draw here, turn the auto stroke on. Let me do that again with the auto stroke on. So now it's got a stroke, but we'll make the stroke like that. Now you can do whatever you want. You can use real pictures of teeth if you want. I'm just gonna draw some funky teeth real quick. And I know this is masterpiece at work, but you know. Curve the teeth out a little bit. It is supposed to be a cartoon, so it's supposed to look silly. I'll just fill these in real quick, and so he has some lines for the teeth. I don't want to make this tutorial too long. I'm sure it's already a little too long for some of you guys. Move this up here. Oops. Let's grab all those. And move it up. Rotate them. And oops. Let's make sure Okay. Just pretend these are teeth. Pretend they're really awesome looking teeth. And yeah. I know they look awesome, but let's just do that. And then we'll also put a tongue in there. So I'll just, I'm going to select pink color and then hold shift down and then select another pink color for like a stroke. We'll just put that. We don't even need a stroke. What am I doing? Auto stroke. Take that off. So we'll just draw that like that. Okay. And that looks super crazy, I know. And you can put bottom teeth in if you want, but that's not. I just wanted to make a quick thing like that. So it looks super crazy, but then we'll turn the mouth on. Put that over the mouth that we cut out. So now, oops, if I grab that layer and move it up and down, now it looks like he's got a mouth, you know. And it looks funny, and that's exactly how it's supposed to look, kind of South Park like or jibjab like. And that's it. All you have to do is animate that layer. So what we'll do, let me put that back, put his mouth kind of back where it's supposed to be. We'll go ahead and create a group. Will's head complete. So we can put all the parts in there again. And now we can move all those parts together. And let's go ahead and bring the car back for a second. Oops. Oh, we don't need the tracing image. And we'll bring the car in. And let's go ahead and import. I'll import my my character of me. So character ready. Let's put him in there. And we'll go ahead and shrink him down a little bit. Actually, let's take my character and drop him underneath in the Will's head complete. Okay? And I'm going to shrink him down to about the same size as Will's head. That's pretty good right there. And what we'll do is we'll go into my character and hide his face. So now his head's gone. And we'll grab Will's head. Oh, actually, you know what? We got to do this the other way around. Let me pull my character out like that, and then Will's head complete. We'll just put right here in my character, and so it's in there, and we'll just make his head bigger and put him right there. It's already ridiculous. And we'll just put it kind of in the right place like that. And tilt the head a little bit. Let's go ahead and change the origin point so it's right there. So if we do rotate it, it rotates right there. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And then we will go to, let's go into the character. So since the Will's head is in my character, now if I resize him, he's ready to rock. So I'll go to frame 1. Actually, let's put my character underneath the car. We'll shrink him down a little bit more. Let's go to frame 1. Move him in position. Put him right there. And I'll hit Z and get him so he's sitting in the car. Get his hands up here. So he's driving. And then, oh. You know what I forgot to do? Let me go back to frame 0 and do one more group, and we'll just call this scene. And as you can see, using folders is a great way to combine elements to move as one. So if I put them both in the scene, then we have frame, then we go to frame 1 where I have them seated, and then I select scene, the entire thing moves. So picture him rolling. Oh, and I do have an audio. So let's go to frame 1. Put him right here. And then we'll go to frame 24. Right there. Let's make that a little slower, so we'll go to 48. So we'll have him drive in. And once he gets here, we'll stop the wheels. So go to wheel 1. Just click on the rotation and it creates a keyframe, and that'll just make it stop. So if it gets there, and it'll just stop. Okay. Same thing with wheel 1. Click on the rotation, same thing. Like that. And then I'm just going to go a few frames farther into like frame 60. And I do have a Will Smith wave file. So I'll add the audio and then open it. Then it'll play. Now it's playing really slow, but that's just because Anime Studio is trying to process a lot of information. It should render correctly. So actually, let me go back. Have them stop. And then we'll go to here. I just want the audio to be a little farther down. And if we wanted to get crazy, we could animate his eyes, some cartoon eyes over it, or eyebrows and stuff like that. But for now, I'm sure this tutorial is really too long for you guys. So now I go in here and I'll go into my character. And we have Will's head complete. And let's select the mouth shape, or the mouth that we had. And we'll click on this. I'm using the arrow keys to move his mouth. So I just animated it up, going up and down. Okay, and it played really slow. Again, that's just because it's rendering funny. It's processing a lot of information on screen. So we'll go right there. Let's click on the car complete again and zoom out. And then go to frame 240 and oops. I only selected, but see, that's why you need to select the entire group. So right there, select the scene, click on that, and then go to frame 240 and zoom out, and then he'll travel with the car. And that's really too slow. It's a fast car, so I'll make that go to there. And again, so now we need to start up the wheels again. So we'll go to this frame, car complete, wheel 1. This time I'm just going to guess because it's not going to, instead of typing in the number. So I'll click rotation, go forward 12 frames, which should be what? 159. And we'll rotate it. This one, I'm just looking at the shape of the wheel. The star is up there. So I'm clicking rotate, I'm just gonna go down and then rotate it almost all the way, so about right there. And I'll just do cycle. We'll type 11 and right click and linear, so that goes again. Okay, and then wheel 2, same thing. Click on it. Go to frame 159. I'll click on the rotate. I'm just doing it right above and then coming down so I can see the wheel, and turn it right about there. Right click, cycle. Anime Studio keeps crashing. Okay, saved everything except, let's see, 147, wheel 2, click on it, rotate, cycle, 11, and linear. So he drives in. And then he drives off. So there it is. That's how you use masking to cut out actual photos in Anime Studio. If you have any questions or comments, just leave them down below. Thanks.